Welcome to the Outdoor Line Last Cast segment. We're doing the show wrap-up from today's show. We covered so much stuff today. Kokanee. We really hit the halibut thing hard today. Halibut seasons are coming up. I did a great talk at, well, I don't know if the talk was great, but I did a talk.
You said it was great. We'll go with great.
Okay. It was a talk at the Snow
Ron
King.
Garner's was great. Yours
Ron
was,
Garner, he was kind of the headline speaker at the Snow King chapter the other night. But great meeting, 230 people in attendance, and we really talked a lot about halibut techniques. You know, what do you want to do in the Puget Sound? How do you rig up and all that stuff? And I brought some of my riggings in here for Southeast Alaska.
That's the official butt board.
That's the official butt board, and this is the official Lamiglass pole vaulting stick. We're going to launch ourselves across the parking lot here with this.
Very stout.
As soon as we get done here. That's a 6080. It's called that's the model number of this Lamiglass rod. It's a 30 to 80 pound rod. Pretty heavy duty rod. I like it because it's got this big long foregrip on it right here. So not only my guest, but if I'm halibut fishing, I can lay that on the edge of the boat and crank.
Leverage.
You know? We're not fishing chironomids.
Yeah.
We're not catching opening day trout. This is
right.
about putting meat in the box. All right. This is a Pan 340 GT reel. This is my go-to reel for all my halibut fishing. Loaded up with 100-pound Berkeley big game braid.
Right.
I use heavier braid in Southeast Alaska. Okay. If you're fishing inside here in Puget Sound, if you're fishing off the coast in 500 feet of water, we fished in 800 feet of water a couple years ago down in Westport.
Sounds fun.
I fished in 800. You fished
I
in
didn't
110.
fish. I actually hung up and went and ate everybody's lunch.
Yeah, the fake halibut fishermen here.
Run some smaller braid. Run 50 pound, maybe 65 pound, less line drag. You'll get to the bottom a lot better. My deal is I don't run spreader bars and I don't run tuna cord. Okay, I run a 3-way corkscrew swivel. These are stainless swivels here. I probably shouldn't be telling you this because these are kind of hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I still need to stock up for Alaska on these things. But your lead's going to hang right there. And then I run 200-pound leader. Halibut are not leader shy. 200-pound leader, anywhere from 24 to 30 inches. Glow-in-the-dark hoochie, green and white, pink and white. These are made by Delta. A couple other companies make them too. I think Zach's makes them. Just look for the great big hoochies and make sure they're glow-in-the-dark. Make sure you've got some spacers in here. Just find some inexpensive corkies. These happen to be UV corkies that I have in here. And then a couple of 10-aught mustad hooks. This is a great herring rig for fishing up inside, northern Puget Sound, the Eastern Strait.
And you really need to point that out. This is basically, you got a hoochie on here that's going to augment the bait. I mean, you are not going to send this down like it is. You're going to add some squid, some octopus, or probably some herring more than likely. Yeah,
and in the Puget Sound, it's usually a herring drill. A lot of guys will run a big horse herring and tip it with maybe some squid, some octopus. But you want to run J-hooks up inside here because you're not going to be getting bit all day long. I mean, you're looking for quality fish inside the Sound, and I keep talking about the Sound. I'm talking about the northern Puget Sound and the eastern Strait of Juan de Fuca. Really, a small halibut in there is going to be 30 pounds. There's some quality fish in there. I mean, we see every year, we see fish 100, 150 pounds. A couple years ago, Riley Fiacourse got a 275-pound, ridiculous big Barney halibut inside.
East side of the Straits, exactly.
But you're fishing for 1, 2, 3 bites. So you don't want to miss them with a circle hook.
Got to make it count, right?
Run your big J hooks and space them accordingly when you rig these things up.
So you put a herring on there, Robbo. Are you wrapping it with some stretchy thread?
You can. You run this right up through the nose, and then you can lay this hook in alongside your herring, take some magic thread, wrap it around there. The other thing you can do, you can skin hook this, just so the hook is just kind of coming out the side of the herring, and then put some vertical slices in that herring too. Let all that oil kind of ooze out of there.
We're talking big herring.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one of the things we talked about on the show is you get this thing down at depth, you get a whap, you get a tap. How do you tell if you still have bait down without reeling your gear up 500 feet or even 200 feet?
One of the things you can do, and it takes years of experience to figure this out.
But if you're thinking about it.
But think about it. When you hit the bottom, your lead hits the bottom, bam, click it into gear, reel it up, you'll feel that lead, and then bam, you'll feel this little tug from your hoochie and your bait. Feel what that feels like and how much pressure.
First put it down.
Yeah. So okay, it puts a little bit of pressure on there. Okay, when you get your bait stripped off, you reel it up, it'll feel a lot lighter. Okay, that's like, you know what, my bait just got stripped off. Right. The nice thing about running a hoochie, if you do get a bite, okay, you might still have part of your bait still on here. That hoochie's still fishing for you. Okay, it gives you the added attraction of something that's glow in the dark down there. I like to have scent. I like to have noise. I'm constantly banging my stuff on the bottom.
So even though you get that herring strip, you still got scent, you still got motion in there, and you still got some UV action. All right. So then, when do we go to a jig, and how does the use of jigs, lead-headed jigs, and bait, how do they work together on a boat when you're working halibut?
A lot of times, I mean, I do a lot of jigging in Southeast Alaska because we've got big chicken beds, right, that are just carpeted with chicken halibut from 15 to 30 pounds. So I'll run 2 pipe jigs and a couple of these scampy-tailed jigs. These are 16-ounce jig heads with either Berkeley 8-inch power grubs on them or these Thrasher scampy tails. These Thrashers have these little arms on the side, so when the tails get bit off, you've still got a couple arms on there, little alligator arms that give them some action. What you want to do with your jigs is run bait. Okay, and I'm talking about salmon belly strips, and I know salmon bellies are probably the best eaten part of the whole salmon.
Look at him. You see what?
Oh, I know. We all love salmon bellies.
Put a herring on there.
Yeah, put a herring on there. And here's another little tip for you. Lingcod skin, sea bass skin, halibut skin, soak it in Putski's nectar.
Yeah.
It works great. And it's like putting an old baseball glove on your hook. You are not going to tear that.
It doesn't come off, and it draws that nectar in. They actually make a rockfish halibut nectar that you just put in a tray and you soak those skins of those baits in night before. It absorbs all that extra, bite stimulants in there. It's got that krill in there.
It's a great
which is a natural bite stimulant. You soak that stuff in there. It makes your bite increase go up.
And they'll hit jigs just bare, but if you put bait on them, they're going to be about 5 times more effective. I mean, I run bait on all of them. Even my pipe jigs, I put a little strip of bait on that hook, and they work really good. Now, the last thing is circle hooks. Okay, now circle hooks, very few of them come that are offset. Okay, most of them are just going to be inline circle hooks. You want to put them in your vise and crank them over just a little bit. It takes some force to do that. But you want to crank them over about 1/8 of an inch or so just to offset them a little bit.
What we're talking about offset is you see the shank of the hook over here, right? You see the shank of the hook and you see the point of the hook. If you lay this hook down flat on a surface and it doesn't rock at all, it does not have enough offset. You need to bring the point of this hook away from the shank enough so it can get in his mouth. And this, in my mind, that's a fresh hook. You haven't bent this one. This one, I can tell you've used it and you've bent it a little bit. It's opened up a little bit, and it could even be opened up a little bit more. Yeah, well,
about 1/8 of an inch is about what you need. You don't need to crank on them too much. But and you'll see I've got hoochies on my circle hook rigs as well. If you're fishing offshore, you're fishing La Push, some of those areas, Westport, and you got 3-4 guys on the boat, you might run 2 hoochie rigs and then just a couple of straight bait rigs. And you might see, because there are days when they're not going to jump on the hoochie deal. Right. Go, yeah, you know what? I just want that chunk of bait.
Well, you're letting them tell you what they want, right?
Exactly.
And then you can swap it over, so you never fish 4 baits exactly the same. I don't care if we're fishing salmon, steelhead, whatever.
You're going to mix
switch it up, let them tell you what they want.
One last thing you need to talk about with regard to the hooks, okay? You have a different hooking strategy with the J hooks than you do with the circle hooks. You're going to fish the circle hooks in deeper water, okay? The J hooks, you need to react and you need to strike and get a hook.
Well, you can let them eat it. I mean, you're going to let them eat it with that J hook, but you can put the schwacken to them. Yeah. I mean, you can let them have it, and literally you set the hook hard. These are big, strong hooks. It takes some force to drive them in there. With a circle hook, do not set the hook. You'll pull it right out of the fish's mouth. Let them eat it. Let them take it, and then when they're kind of going good, you'll feel that rod kind of doing this. Just point the rod tip at the water and just start reeling. If you get it up part way and they actually drop the bait, you might be disappointed momentarily. Just get that bail open and get that bait right back down to the bottom.
They haven't gone far, right? They're right there.
They're right there. You know there's a halibut right there. Drop it down. Bam. A lot of times you'll get them.
The circle hook is designed to work differently than the J hook. The J hook will hook in a straight line of force when you set the hook. The circle hook will work its way to the corner of the halibut or lingcod's mouth where it will rotate. And it will do so naturally in the fish's attempt to eat the bait.
Nice thing about circle hooks, they're always hooked in the corner of their mouth. So if you're fishing, say, Swiftsure Bank or offshore, where there's good numbers of halibut and you're looking to maybe upgrade, you're shaking some of those 20-pounders, 30-pounders, looking for a little better halibut. It's way easier to release them with a circle hook than a J hook. They might be hooked down in the throat, in the gills. You don't want to do that.
That's a keeper.
Yeah,
that is definitely a
other thing we covered today, enough of that halibut stuff. Whew. Kokanee. We've got some great giveaways coming up. Dwayne, talk about the Facebook page.
The cool thing about the kokanee deal is people are just blowing up all over it. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to fish for kokanee, and we have some really good stuff coming up for giveaways. you need to go to our Facebook page, click the like button, because you do, and simply list the top 2 kokanee destinations, Washington and Oregon. And I got them listed here. For Oregon, we're looking for Wickiup Reservoir and Wallowa Lake. In Washington, it's Roosevelt and Merwin. Pretty much standard, you know, in your kokanee arsenal of destinations to go to. You go to our Facebook page, click the like, list those 4 destinations, 2 of each state, and that enters you in for the drawing. All I'm going to do is take the names off Facebook. So if you don't go to Facebook, you can't enter to win. We have 2 of those brand new Lemonglass kokanee rods we're going to give away. We kind of showed them here last week. And we also have a signed book by Kent Cannon out of Oregon area. He's an outdoor writer and a kokanee master of the Northwest, well known throughout the Northwest. The book is Kokanee Obsession. It's it is the #1 kokanee book that you could ever get your hands on. It tells you everything you need to know about kokanee fishing in the Northwest, time of year, types of gear, things to use, resources, how to get there. I mean, it's everything you want to know. So if you don't end up with a Lemonglass rod, you still might get the kokanee book.
Still going to get some great information.
Just going to spell it out there for you. Plus, we got a bunch of stuff coming in from Lure Jensen. We're going to be giving away.
We got 2 boxes sitting
Look at that
over here.
stuff.
We're going to be wrestling over that stuff.
We'll have a little wrestling
right?
match here. We gave away some great shirts from Grundens today. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Grundens,
No
for
doubt.
the great giveaways.
No doubt.
We've got some more of that stuff in the coming
We do.
weeks.
It
We
just
do.
keeps coming in.
You gotta love April. Tons of opportunities. The opening day is fishing season coming up. You know, Lowland Lakes. May's coming around the corner. Stay tuned to the Outdoor Line and theoutdoorline.com, and we'll get you all lined up with our with the opportunities you need to know about.
Sun's coming up, man.
Sun's coming up.
Get out of here.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.